I got tired of getting wet while I was drying the dishes. So the best way for me to keep myself dry is by putting it on a towel rack. Problem is I didn't have one. So I made one. I fired up the forge, got the metal nice and hot, and then started forging. Now, in order for me to get this down to where it is a towel rack, I needed to first take the ends of this piece of bar and I needed to flatten it out. After I flattened it out, I took it to the bandsaw and cut the flat bar into two different halves. Then I brought it back out, isolated the two halves, and started tapering them down to a point. Then I brought it to the horn on the anvil and started curving it. I repeated this process on both ends, and there you go. I now have two matching ends. The next thing I needed to do is I needed to put a 45-degree angle in the bar. Whoops, well, we messed up on that shoot. Let's try that again. There we go. Now we can bend it into 45 degrees. Then I take the base part of the towel rack and bend it another 45-degree angles. Repeat that on both sides, and there you go. You now have a forged towel rack. The only issue I had with this is that the corners of the bar were a little too sharp. So I softened them by hammering the edges down with a hammer. And as you can see, this also gives it a bit of a better look than just a straight square bar all the way across, and adds a little more character. Next, I drilled two holes on both parts of the base, covered the rack with linseed oil, and there you go. You now have a complete forged towel rack. Found the position on the wall that I wanted to put it, and started putting the screws in. Wait a second, why am I using hand tools again? There we go. That's gonna make things much faster. So I started doing this, but hey, wait a second. Isn't that a bit close to that light switch there? Aren't you gonna hit a power line or something behind the wall there? I'm just kidding. No, I made sure that I was well clear of the power lines that were behind the wall of where I was putting the towel rack. So I finished installing it and made sure that it was nice and sturdy. Put the towel on it, it's now complete. And it's actually looking pretty good. Now, I can finally do the dishes in the way that I want to, being able to dry them off away from me and not getting wet at all. Then, as any creator does, I sat down and admired my work. And as I was sitting there, I was just thinking to myself, wow, this really does look good. And I just kept on looking at it. And I don't know what came over me, but I just felt this sense of pride and joy in knowing that I created this. I mean, look at it. It's just beautiful. Really? But no, seriously, I really am proud of what I've done here. I mean, look at this. I took a bar of metal and I made it into a towel rack. Was it really challenging for me to do this? Yeah, it was a bit challenging, especially getting these curls in and everything. But if you look at the before and after pictures of my kitchen, this being the before, and of course this being the after, it actually does help add a lot more character to it, and it looks a lot better. And that leads us to the next part of why I made this video. If you saw one of my previous videos, I made a paper towel holder for the side of my cabinet so that I can use those while I'm cooking. But paper towels can run out and they can get pretty pricey. And I didn't want to use them while I was doing my dishes. And the reason why I'm trying to do these things is to make my kitchen look a little bit better. If you look at images of other kitchens, some of them will look like $1 million. Now I don't have $1 million on me. In fact, nowhere close to $1 million. But one thing I do have is the ability to take a piece of metal and forge it into a shape that I want it to be. Whether it's a knife, a griddle, or even some other things that I wanted to make that I wasn't even sure was gonna work. And some of you are gonna say, well, couldn't you just go buy one? Yeah, I could have just gone to the store, even gone online and got one, but it would just been a generic one. And the thing is I don't want my kitchen to be generic. Heck, I could have just thrown it on a chair. Or even put it on the counter. But like I said, I don't just want a cookie cut kitchen that everybody else has. I want something that has character to it and looks pleasing to the eye, and is also inviting to others to come in and feels homely. So join me on this series of making my kitchen my own. I want to thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the video for more. I just passed 100 subscribers not very long ago, and that's just crazy to me. And I want to thank you all that have subscribed. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time.